everybody, and welcome to another installment of MegoMuseum's Vintage Mego. You know, on this series I've spent a lot of time talking about superheroes and apes and Star Trek and Micronauts, but it's time to go back, way back, to the original 8-inch action figure in the form of Mego's Action Jackson. Action Jackson started it all in 1972 when Mego launched him with an aggressive ad campaign. The figure was emulating some similar toy concepts such as G.I. Joe's Adventure Team and Big Jim in the fact that you bought the action figure, he was basic, and you could buy adventures in the form of outfits, you could buy play sets, you could buy vehicles, and they had all ranging price costs. This was a very common thing, and this was Mego's first big stab at a TV advertised toy. They dipped their toe in the water with licensing with Joe Namath before, but nothing was as aggressive as Action Jackson. They spent millions on the advertising. Unfortunately, the Action Jackson line burned brightly, but not for a long time because of impositions put on their advertising, which kind of deflated the sales. So it sold really well to the retailer, but then it kind of hung around on store shelves. Action Jackson was considered very common, and that is the theme of this week's episode. Some of the rarer Action Jackson pieces. It's not hard to find AJ outfits or boxed AJ dolls in this age. In fact, there's been many warehouse finds. However, there is, with every toy line, there's something that's just incredibly hard to find. And these are the three items from my collection that I consider the rarest things I own in the Action Jackson category. The first thing is the Royal Guard outfit. This was produced for Denmark, so Action Jackson was not only sold in Canada and the United States, it was sold in the UK and in Europe, Italy, Denmark, Germany. While most of those countries just copied the US formula, maybe changed the box, like in France where they called him Luc l'Aventure, Denmark was special in the fact that they created not one but two outfits that we know of completely for the European market. The first one being the Royal Guard. This was based on the Danish Royal Guard at the time, and, well, collectors went crazy when this first appeared in 1999. I remember the first time I saw this, and it went for more money than I had, and it really haunted me. Come around 2016, these things started popping up again with quite a bit of regularity, and I managed to get this boxed one that had been taken off the card. I've managed to reattach this one to its original card, but I would imagine there's something close to 30 of these out there now. They just popped up with incredible regularity. It's one of those things that went from being super rare to everyone I know I think has one now. During that aforementioned 1999 auction when the first Royal Guard went up, I did manage to get the second set the seller had. It was sort of like a consolation prize. It was a football outfit for Action Jackson. Soccer is obviously very popular in Europe and wouldn't have sold very well in the United States, but this is a very nice outfit for Action Jackson. I, at the time, was happy with it, but, wished I had gotten the Royal Guard. Nowadays, I'm really glad I have this because it's incredibly hard to find. There's never been another one that's popped up to my knowledge, not even the socks, which I find unbelievable. I mean, it's been at least 21 years since I got this, so I'm kind of grateful that I lost that day now. The third item on my list is this vinyl storage locker for Action Jackson. Now, Mego famously had licensed the storage locker to Irwin Toys in the early 1970s, and I'll get into the Irwin Toys Action Jackson lines in a later installment, but this one's actually done by another toy company called Multiple Plastics. Mego was freely licensing the Action Jackson brand in the early 1970s. I mean, they were doing so much TV advertising, it made sense for Aladdin to make a lunchbox or Color Forms to make an Action Jackson playset to catch some of the heat from the marketing campaign. I mean, who doesn't know that theme song?
Action Jackson is his name, bold adventure is his game.
This wardrobe locker is the only one I've ever seen of its kind. I would certainly like to know what it came with. Did it come with outfits? Did it come with hangers? Did it come with an Action Jackson figure? I'd really like to know. This has not popped up since then, and I'm really glad I went for it when I did. It is a little damaged, as you can see on the back, but it's just one of the more rare Action Jackson pieces that I collect. I'm really kind of chuffed that there is still a very strong following for Action Jackson. He got ignored a lot in the 90s and the early 2000s, and something changed, and there's even a Facebook group dedicated to Action Jackson collecting that I highly recommend. I'll put the link below. It's a bunch of great guys, and that's all they do is they talk Action Jackson in there. So there you have it, the 3 most rare Action Jackson pieces that I own. Do you collect Action Jackson, or do you have fond memories of him as a kid? I'd love to hear your stories. You can hit me up at Twitter, at MegoMuseum. We have a growing forum on Facebook called Megomania, where we'd love to have you to talk AJ. And of course, you can always hit me up at the forums at MegoMuseum.com if you don't do Facebook. Thanks again for watching. And as always, if you're new to this, I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe. Until next time, I hope you're having fun.